I'm Fathery,
This is Dave.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Rachel.
and this is Tex-Trek.
Engage.
Welcome back aboard the Starship Texas for the 230th installment of the Tex-Trek podcast, the home of Star Trek fandom from deep in the heart of Texas, where we take a deep look at Star Trek, old and new. And tonight we are talking about Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 1, The Next Generation. Written by Terry Matalas, directed by Doug Aarniokoski. And okay, some people are telling me that the audio sounded a little off, but now I see some people are saying it
was
sounds
kind of
better. So, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. So, a lot of technical difficulties. That happens when you're hanging out close to a nebula. It can scramble your sensor readings and all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, Star Trek Picard is back.
Yeah.
A lot of people are really looking forward to this one, the big reunion season. But don't call it a reunion in front of Patrick Stewart. He's like, it is not a reunion show. It is its own thing. So.
Oh, why does he not? Why does he resist that? I don't quite. Maybe I don't see the distinction.
I think he thinks like reunion sounds like they're just sitting around the table, being like old farts,
just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
I until recently when reboots became most things that are on TV, a reunion special to me is like the Nanny reunion special where it's they're just chilling in Fran Drescher's house, and then there's a weird joke about David Duchovny because Daniel Davis wasn't available. So they're like,
so Patrick Stewart's probably like, we have a story to tell.
Yes.
Or the reunion show is like the Very Brady Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
It's cheesy to get everybody together.
Or like the HBO Max special they did for Friends, or it's just the cast.
I didn't see that. Was that any good?
It was fun. If you like Friends, you'd probably enjoy it. That's the.
It was kind of funny to see. I didn't even like Friends, but I did watch that, and it was kind of funny just to see how some of them aged better than other ones. But I don't want to make fun of anyone's aging in there. But it was just kind of interesting to see them side by side again. It's like, oh, you look 20 years older. You look 1 year older. Just a little weird, but. But yes, the next generation, in the name of the episode, obviously, referencing the show.
Oh God, this is going to be the new Lower Decks, where every time you mention it, if you want to bring up the episode, you have to be very clear what you're talking about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to discussing this with y'all. It'll be fun getting back in the groove of doing weekly new episodes of Trek, and especially seeing our audience who. A lot of people show up for the new shows. A lot of people that might have never heard of Tex-Trek before, they're going to be checking us out right now, discovering us for the first time. So this is the way that we do things, but we do a thorough deep dive discussion of the episode. And before we start talking about this, though, I do want to give a quick thank you and shout out to our Patreon supporters out there who make all of this possible. But thank you, Starfleet Boy, Kick is Eternal, Gay Clevin Lundstrom, Crazy Dutchy, Joanne Robertson, John Daw, Geek Filter, Earl Grey Trekkie, Quarks Bar, and our anonymous supporters. To celebrate our Patreon support, we're going to have a watch party. We do it every month. The next one's going to be March 18th. We're actually watching the DS9 episode, Way of the Warrior. That's the Season 4 opener. It's a big double-length episode. So it's that whole introduction of Worf onto DS9 and the conflict with the Klingons, all of that stuff. So
it's good.
It's very cinematic. It'll be kind of like watching like a Deep Space Nine Klingon War movie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
unfortunately, I think the closest we'd ever get to a Deep Space Nine movie.
Yeah, well, Dave and I just covered the last 2 seasons of DS9. So if anyone didn't catch that, you can go find it now. Go watch or listen to that content. But one thing that we can appreciate is that Ira Steven Behr, the showrunner on DS9, made a very conscious choice to give that show a big ending because he felt that they were never going to get a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's okay that there is no DS9 movie.
Well, given that
Smart.
there's some consensus that the especially the TNG movies aren't always don't always feel like they fit the ethos of the show, and so maybe Deep Space Nine avoided that fate.
True.
Sure.
True.
But the speaking of that, Next Generation, most people agree had a very strong ending with All Good Things, but then they did do those movies in addition to that. And one thing that I think is really cool about the current Star Trek Picard showrunner Terry Matalas is that he said, "Yeah, All Good Things was a great ending for TNG, but then they went and made those movies." So what he's doing with season 3 of Picard is giving us the big ending to those movies and that chapter of these characters kind of post TNG lives. And
then there's going to be another show that's going to up it.
yeah, they're gonna have like a good ending, and then there will be like this extension, and they'll be like, oh well, no, we have to wrap that up because we just can't let anything just stop, right?
There will be AI CG versions of them that will just act out fan scripts.
No, I at least Star Trek has always been on the side of recasting actors. Every day I thank God God I have not seen a deep fake Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I'm sure it'll happen eventually, but
no, just let Ethan Peck act.
Hold the line. Age. The line must be drawn here.
I'm like okay with like de-aging. The deep faking dead actors are like completely just hiring younger actors. It's like and then putting their face over them. I find deeply disturbing.
It is a little weird. And the de-aging is really good. Like they do that.
They're pretty good
well.
at it now.
Yeah. Like even on a lot of people complained about Picard season 1 with like Data, but I was like, no, that's what like movie era Data, like that's what he looked like in like Insurrection and Nemesis. Like
I will say that
they got it right.
That you could compare to like the Luke Skywalker de-aging is what people were comparing it to, except Data actually moved and talked in the season 1 of Picard and gave a performance, and Luke Skywalker literally just stands there in The Mandalorian and looks like Luke Skywalker. Like,
I would Luke, that's all you gotta do.
I'd rather see a performance.
Just force vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be doing that Patreon watch party March 18th. So anyone who wants to take part in that and see Way of the Warrior with us and talk about the episode with us while we're watching it, because hopefully we've all seen it before. That'll be a weird way to watch it for the first time. But you can join the Patreon at whatever level you're comfortable with giving, but you can come in as little as $2 per month, and that'll get you into the watch parties. Additional perks if you want to be more generous. But thank you for that. And if you want to support us but can't help out, with a monthly commitment like that, you can always super chat during our live shows. Like a couple people are already doing. I see Jill going by Inspection Face. Doesn't want me to read it, so I'm not going to. But thank you for the $2 super chat, and also Loco New York with a very, very generous $10 super chat. So that's a great way to help out. And if anyone does want us to read a super chat, just super chat with a comment. We're more than happy to read it. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. I think just focusing on this first episode of Picard season 3. So, and I see Jill is saying Captain Shaw was correct to point out that their ruse was not that good.
Look,
yeah, we'll get into that in some.
It's like
some
3 kids standing up with a trench coat on top.
Yeah.
Look, he's right about that, but I still want to punch him for other things.
Well, let's talk about Shaw and the other characters. I'm just going to quickly recap the episode by reading the official synopsis, and then I'll kind of give a spoilery explanation of what happens. But the synopsis reads: after receiving a cryptic urgent distress call from Dr. Beverly Crusher, Admiral Jean-Luc Picard enlists help from generations old and new to embark on one final adventure, a daring mission that will change Starfleet and his old crew forever. And so, yeah, he basically teams up with Riker. They take Riker's old ship, the Titan, off to where they suspect Beverly is. They find her injured, but also a mysterious young man claiming to be her son. And then a scary, bad ship shows up. Well, that's going on. Raffi is on some undercover mission trying to figure out what's going on with this quantum tunneling weapon that is being used for terrorist attacks. So we got a secondary plot going on there. Just real quick, I'd like to ask everyone to give their opening statement and express, their broad impressions of this episode before we talk about any specifics. So, Rachel, why don't you kick us off this week and give the first opening statement? What was your takeaway on The Next Generation?
I really liked the episode. I was like itching to watch it all day. Unfortunately, work expected me to do work things. I don't know. That was weird of them, but
it is.
I
didn't
really
do hardly
enjoyed
any work
it
today. Sorry to interrupt, but like today at work, I responded to like 3 emails. And that's like all I could do. Like my brain was just stuck on Star Trek all day and getting ready for the show. So.
Unfortunately, was not able to do that. I could later about everything going on with work right now. But I think seeing Patrick Stewart seems super in his element with Jonathan Frakes. In a way that, like, he's always, like, someone in his element, but there's just something of watching the two of them play off each other that I remember seeing it in Nepenthe, too, where it's like, like, watching these two people act off each other is great. And I also like, especially for the women, like, these characters were actually allowed to age. And, like, acknowledging the fact, like, yes, we're older. And, like, that's going to change the story a little bit. But also, like, that story is worth telling.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's one thing that I've given Star Trek credit for over the years, is that, Star Trek allows their heroes to age. When I was a little kid in the 80s, Batman was Michael Keaton. And then it changed to a couple other actors, and then eventually it became like Robert Pattinson. It's like, oh, like, he used to be like this like grown-ass man when I was a little kid, and now like Batman is younger than I am. It's like I've gotten so much older, and Batman has always played like a dude in his 30s. I know Keaton's coming back now, but typically, but with Star Trek, we saw the TOS crew get old. Now we're seeing the TNG crew even older than they were. So yeah, that's something that Star Trek's always done. And anything else, Rachel?
I was just really excited to see Beverly Crusher.
Yeah, finally mentioned again after decades of not hearing anything about her. I guess since Nemesis. So we had that hologram quickly, and
Gates has never really got her due in the movies. So hopefully this will continue to give her stuff to do.
I was trying to think. None of the movies have a good plot line for Beverly Crusher, right? Like that's
no. She does hardly anything in any of them.
Or Troy.
The only storyline in quotes Troy gets is a Nemesis, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I guess she got to get drunk in First Contact. Which is not a story, but it's a fun scene.
It was a fun scene. Yeah, it was one of the rare examples of them actually using Marina Sirtis as an incredibly funny comedy part of her personality.
Yeah.
Which they should have been doing from season 1 of TNG.
Yes. It's like one of those where I'm like, that scene makes me happy because they're playing off each other so well. And I feel like, Troy and Riker actually have a decent in Insurrection. They do have a decent like plot line going. But it's like sometime in those two movies, someone was like, "Oh wait, Marina's funny. We should use that."
Yes, good call. I don't know if that was Ron Moore or
Brandon. They work really well on Lower Decks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Get her on Lower Decks, Mike. Snoopy McQueen in the live audience says, "Picard season 3, episode 1 was best episode of New Trek. Great acting, great visual effects, great storytelling." So Snoopy really loved it. Thank you so much for the generous super chat there.
I read that as the best episode that we've seen of Picard, season 3. I'm like, wait, it's the only one we've seen.
No, I think you meant of all the current shows.
Yes, no, I'm a little tired. It's been a long week and a half.
For me, with my opening statement for this episode is first and foremost, I'm really excited to be spending the next 10. Well, I guess it's 9 weeks now. The next 9 weeks, in addition to this week, living in the 25th century. There's just so much gorgeous eye candy on the show. Just right off the bat, they make that very clear. The ships are fantastic inside and out. So the way the space dock looked, the best L cars I've ever seen in my life. The show is beautiful, and I also love how much cool Starfleet stuff there is. So we really get a big injection of that Starfleet flavor. But Jonathan Frakes kills it. He looks great as Riker. He just doesn't miss a beat. I heard him say in interviews, he's like, yeah, I'm playing Riker as a guy. He didn't really change much over the years. He's still kind of the same guy he was in season 1. I like that strong, confident Riker. He's consistent over the decades. Picard's changed a lot. Other people changed a lot, but Riker is, he's still Riker. So it has me super excited to see Worf and Geordi soon, and everyone else. And the episode accomplished for me what is probably its most important job, and that I'm really hooked. I'm dying. I can't stress that enough. I just the anticipation. I desperately need to know what's going to happen next. I'm really curious about the Raffi stuff. I like her investigation. I'm worried about Picard's sign of cognitive decline. He doesn't remember what star bases are still in operation and which ones are closed down. So I want to know what's going on with that. But there were some things that I'm very unsure of in the episode. I wasn't expecting it to be as dark as it was. Just everyone talking about, this is a return to a more traditional tone for Star Trek, and it's I just wasn't thinking it was gonna have some of this darker stuff, which I'm okay but it kind of caught me off guard. The whole don't trust anyone in Starfleet, and then Captain Shaw was a bit much the first time I watched it. He's kind of grown on me on rewatches, but yeah, I was just I was just hoping for a less sinister Starfleet, and I'm worried about Riker and his family problem. Why is Deanna and Kestra mad at Riker? What did he do? So that I just wasn't.
I noticed that too, and I was
probably his dad jokes.
Yeah, I couldn't stand the dad jokes.
I love that they were all worried. They're we're just annoyed with him because he won't stop playing trombone.
Put down the bone, Will. But yeah, I guess my biggest issue was I just thought there was a little bit too much, too many things that were too familiar that kind of made it feel like there's a lot of derivative stuff, Crash LaForge having the same introduction as Demora Sulu in Star Trek Generations, and around that same time in the episode, okay, they're kind of they're not stealing a ship, but they're kind of hijacking a ship. It felt very Star Trek 3, and then Shaw's kind of style, so it's it felt like a lot of okay, I've kind of seen that moment before. But the thing that really made me worry is the mystery kid at the end. I'm very nervous about that. Ever since I watched this episode, it's as soon as I wake up in the morning, I worry about it all day. It's I do not want him to be a secret love child of Picard and Beverly. I think that's too similar to David Marcus, and I'm gonna have a hard time accepting okay, she had the secret kid and then kept him secret. What's a good justification to just repeat something very similar from Star Trek 2? So I'm a little nervous about that.
I will say in David Marcus' case, Kirk knew about David, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He just and I kind of understand in that time period why it'd be hard to do co-parenting.
Sure. David didn't know Kirk was his dad, though.
Yeah.
But Kirk knew his son existed.
I'm not saying I want it to be true. For my own peace of mind, I'm just starting to accept it, just in case.
Yeah, and maybe that's what I should do too. But yeah, so this episode, it was a little bit of a bipolar experience. There's a lot that I love, though. There's a lot that I'm really excited to see. I think there's so much potential here, but there's also a lot of things that just kind of stress me out and make me nervous, and so I need to see them just so I can have peace of mind. But I know that Terry Matalas, when he was talking to me and our friend Starfleet Boy not that long ago, one of the things that we were talking to him about is people are worried, you might kill a legacy character, so people that follow us online, they're starting to sweat bullets, and Terry sounded like he was excited by that. He's really people are nervous. He's yeah, that's what I want them to be nervous. I was like Terry, you made me nervous. I'm very nervous with a lot of things going on.
Oh, I'm more nervous now. Great.
But like I said, the show just it got so much like that traditional Star Trek flavor, right? And I'm prepared for what I think could be a great ride, but we'll see what they're doing with Ed Speleers and some of the other mysteries. My biggest hope, though, is that I want this to embrace the title of this episode, The Next Generation, where it is setting. I want like a good ending for the TNG people and a setup for new characters, new stories, new concepts. So that's what I'm hoping I get in the following 9 episodes. Dave, what about you? What's your impressions on this one?
So someone has to be that guy, right? When I was rewatching it, there was a line that Seven said, and I was like, oh, that's my keynote for this. She's tells Picard and Riker, if I were you, I'd lower expectations. I was not super into it. I had mixed reactions to the previous seasons of Picard, so that's not, in a way, not a surprise. There was stuff I liked, but I don't think I got on board the previous season really until they got back to the present day and the time travel stuff. But there was so much buzz on this one that I was kind of ready. I was like, okay, let's see what we got. And instead, it still had the same things that I kind of disliked about the other 2 seasons. Some of which I can't really blame on them, but it's it's that action movie sort of trope stuff that we're familiar with from TNG and TOS movies, but that I don't feel like you can even really fully accomplish a good outro to TNG with a movie style, a kind of action oriented closure. So that was kind of a persistent thing throughout the whole thing. But I did not like the stuff, the nostalgia stuff in particular.
Yep.
Oh, the internet did not like what he was saying.
We lost Dave.
You see, we got him Trek culture. We've removed him from the timeline.
Dave from the space-time continuum. I think they snapped their fingers like Q and made him vanish. Well, we're waiting on Dave. He's back. He's back.
All right. Where did I leave off?
You didn't like the nostalgia.
You're saying how great
stuff.
it was.
So some of the nostalgia stuff, the clear homage to James Horner's musical score from Wrath of Khan and Trek 3, and all the other callbacks to it. They may serve more of a purpose than I'm thinking, and I think it might have to do with Wrath of Khan's theme about aging, and that may be fitting into Picard as he considers legacy or moving forward, and at least there could be a tie-in. But for right now, it felt like it didn't serve a strong purpose to me. And then I am going to be a Shaw hater. I thought he was cartoonish in his presentation. I don't mind a Badmiral type or bad captain. I am actually I kind of always did like Jellicoe, to be honest. But he seemed cartoonish to me. And the plot is okay. But the stuff that I liked about it, although I can't really say I'm enthused right now, but the stuff I did like Picard and Riker as on their road trip. I liked Raffi scenes. And the whole undercover thing and that sort of hook there, like the look of the Titan, the unnerving terrorist attack and all that. But I am certain that I will be the least enthused person of the group. That is where I am.
Well, Aaron, what about you? What was your reaction to this episode?
I had to go back and check to see where the episode ended because I've seen 3 episodes, so it's sort of hard for me to I can't speculate into any kind of future, and I don't want to spoil anything. But I enjoyed it. I think there are a few things that are coming up that I have more problems with, but I think the setup is good. I know that you're talking about the music cues being a little bit over the top or whatever, but I almost feel like at this point in Star Trek history, they're not so much callbacks anymore as they are just part of the DNA of what it is to be Star Trek.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like everyone's like, oh, it's Easter eggs. I'm like, I think you have to stop at some point and not call them Easter eggs because they're just there all the time. It's like Elcars is not an Easter egg. It's just the computer system that they use in their
No,
universe.
I just rewatched Picard season 2 on that point, Aaron. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, there's so much Goldsmith in Picard season 2. It's like, yeah, like we keep using Goldsmith. Like, why not use Horner? It's like Horner's already, his music's already like a repeating thing. It's like
Horner is an icon of TOS and not TNG to me.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, like, you know, Jerry Goldsmith was an icon of the motion picture until Encounter at Farpoint came out on TV, and then they're like, look,
they stole it.
They did. So, like, why not steal from Horner? And I think it'd be weirder if, like, Horner only scored the Wrath of Khan, but, like, you know, he used that stuff in the Search for Spock, so it's already, like, kind of built in that it can be repurposed for multiple stories.
Well,
so,
I suppose
by all means, keep doing it, Star Trek. I say keep doing it.
Because I compare it to, like, something like in the other Star franchise using the Imperial, like, what was originally more like Darth Vader's theme for, like, the Imperial thing is, like, or Harry Potter will use, like, the Hedwig's theme, like, everywhere. Not just for, like...
Well, just to clarify real quick, and then
No, he vanished again. Hopefully he finds his way back. But yeah, Rachel, I've always been kind of jealous of the musical continuity of the other Star franchise and wish that Star Trek could have that too. But Aaron, before we interrupted, did you have anything else?
Oh, no, I'm really enjoying the way that the different characters from different shows are actually being incorporated together. Seven and like it just feels like, oh, they're all part of one big universe instead of like it's the guest star of 7 of 9 from Voyager. You know, it's just like they're integrated well.
I love seeing how like Riker reacts differently to her, kind of like talking back to Picard than Picard does. I was like, oh yeah, Riker doesn't really know her and doesn't realize how close she's gotten with Picard.
Yeah, exactly. I like seeing like, you know, their first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that
Rafi.
7.
There was the comment that you know, it was just like, oh, I was so worried that she was going to have a relapsed. I'm like, really? Because it's like that to me seemed like the most telegraphed possible. It's like she's obviously not going to go back into her like. It would be really weird for the writers to have like, no, let's just make her relapse.
It's like, it just seems
like clearly she's faking it.
I had a second where I was like, please no, she's faking, right? And I think it was when she said my girlfriend left me. I was like, no, they wouldn't do that between seasons.
Yeah. I think that even that was like, I'm assuming that the girlfriend breaking up thing is also just part of the cover story.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
So
no, and you know, the callback to the Red Lady, that's like just those little bits of callbacks are like those were pretty cool.
I know, I like it. As far as I can think, Rachel Garrett is the only Rachel in Star Trek. So,
oh wow, I never thought of that.
She can't catch a break. Her statue.
Is that why you like Friends, Rachel? I brought up Friends earlier, the TV show. But there's a Rachel there too.
I did, but I grew up watching it. Like my parents watched Friends a lot when I was younger, so I think I always would have. But there's a Rachel there too. That is correct.
What's the Red Lady callback?
Oh, that was Rachel Garrett.
Rachel Garrett.
Oh, right. It's a reference to an episode I haven't seen in a while. But is it like, do we yet have any sense of why that's relevant, or if it's relevant? Or
well, if Denise Crosby is supposed to be in here, right? Like that's,
but not like they've said it so many times. It's like she has to show up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think she shows up as like a hologram, but
that's true.
I don't think she actually like shot a bunch of. I don't think she's gonna be like in more than one scene. It might even just be like one shot. But
in the comments, Joanne asked why she was red.
Same.
And it is a little weird.
I'm guessing because she was command.
I mean, I guess like if you're gonna build a statue, like why don't we make it like the color of her uniform and just make like the whole thing red?
Or just a decision on the part of the sculptor, some artistic thing.
Probably. I mean, a lot of sculptures are one color.
Yeah, normally they go
Maybe
with like
it was made with some
gray,
special type of stone or something that
it's true.
Only from that,
rock from Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Volcanian marble.
Island Trek cultures cough. John Harrison isn't cough.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. Maybe Denise Crosby is a big part of the season. I don't think so. I think she'll be in one scene.
I don't think she'll be a huge part of the season, but I think if they're already calling back Rachel Garrett, a character that I love, but it's in one episode. I like feel like that feels like it will be important since that's like one of the only episodes like past season 1 that had like Tasha Yar in it.
Well, yeah, I guess that was the only episode past season 1 that had Tasha in it. But let's talk about like the opening of this episode. You know, we get like the cool franchise logo that they do now. We hadn't seen it for Picard, so I was wondering like what ship is it going to be? Is it going to be La Sirena? Is it going to be, I don't know, like the Enterprise F, the Stargazer? What could it possibly be? But it's the Titan A flying around the Star Trek Delta, and we get that in the 25th century title card.
And... I love seeing like the TNG font. Like
that's the font from Wrath of Khan. But yeah, we get the TNG font later when they tell us the name of the episode. Which, yes, thank you for putting the names of the episodes on screen again. So they like
we asked
most of the people watching don't care, but yeah, like the hardcore Star Trek fans, like yes, we like seeing the name of the episode. So thank you. I wish all the I guess Picard
and
now
and the credits at the end too. That just is very nice. It's very
yes,
Marvel.
I love that they put the credits at the end because it doesn't give away like who the special guest stars are. Because I was like, there's a thing in like Picard seasons 1 and 2. I'll be like, oh look, Brent Spiner's and Jonathan Frakes is in this one.
Yeah.
It was aggravating.
Because
like, don't tell me.
Sometimes what like shows will do is if there's like a special guest star they're waiting for that they don't want you to know, they'll put it at the very end. Like I remember Buffy did that in an episode where like at the very end.
Hello, Willow.
Yes, that. Yeah. He like, and then it goes at the very end. It goes like right after it goes special guest star Anthony Stewart Head.
Yeah,
so that
was cool.
Get rid of the fact there's a surprise.
But yeah, they give us Beverly right off the bat. So we get like that opening with Bev on her ship, the Helios, and then we get like the Picard and Lara stuff in see Picard's reaction. But yeah, right off the top, you know, we start with cool ship design, cool ship interior, beautiful graphics, beautiful displays, and a bit of Dr. Crusher action, which is kind of a first for her. We didn't see a ton of this type of stuff with her.
Good for her. Like
the Crusher fans are very happy with us, I suspect. I think this is like a huge I don't want to say fan service because that gets like a lot of that's kind of used as a criticism a lot, and and sometimes I agree
like
with that,
finally using this character.
But you know, okay, so again, odd man out here. I of all the things I wanted her to do more. I wanted her back doing stuff. The last thing I wanted was Beverly Crusher action hero. I kind of felt the same way about Seven in the previous season too. So.
Yeah, but I like what they're doing with like her mission on the Helios, where they've talked about she's like doing Doctors Without Borders type work.
That's a cool idea. I would have loved to have seen that.
It always like I mean, she was always like for me for like any of the like if they're a Starfleet officer to me, I was like it makes sense to me that they could like if needed go like a little action star.
Yeah, anyone in Starfleet I think can shoot a phaser rifle.
They've got the training.
The reason why
remember that one time she went like rock climbing, they were so like why are they taking her? She was that one secret mission where they left the Enterprise and somebody took over
the chain of command.
Where Picard was is that where Picard got tortured?
He got captured by the Cardassians and tortured.
I also like
she was pretty badass.
It's a plot point that she like keeps up like her command stuff. Well, not like it comes up like when it's like one of the reasons Troy goes and gets her promotion.
Oh right.
But I love that they kind of lean into like the things that we know about Dr. Crusher, like from the show, from her history, that have always been very apparent. And I don't, just my opinion, I don't think Dr. Crusher is a very strong character. I don't think she was written all that well. I think she is very, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of dimensionality there. I love Gates as a person, but of all the doctors in Star Trek and of all the people on the TNG main crew, I find her the least interesting character. But the things that have always been consistent with her is she's always been, like the doctor, the caregiver, always been like the mother, the caregiver. And I like that they leaned into that to make her the baddest. Like, oh, like she's being like protective of her son. And that's like, even like later when like Picard and Riker are trying to figure out like what happened. And they're like, man, like she went like hardcore. She must've been protecting someone.
That was one of the scenes I liked was when Picard intuits that and when he's talking to the kid at the end. I thought that was a neat little.
I think there's a problem. Like I love TNG, obviously. I don't think TNG wrote women particularly well.
No.
And you can see that in Crusher and Troy.
Yeah,
Characters I both love, but like part of reasons I love them is like stuff from like fandom, not necessarily the actual shows.
Yeah, that's a pretty common opinion, I think. It was kind of a good way to tease the new character that we still don't know much about. But I guess what are these minions that are, I guess they're the big bad's army.
Apparently they've had different faces every time they've appeared.
But they look like they just have like this bird face mask.
I am intrigued by that. Like,
do we think that mask was different, or they take off their mask, reveal themselves to the sun, it's a different face each time, and then put it back on?
I was wondering. I don't know. That's a good question. It was vague enough to like leave you wondering, like, what the hell are they talking about?
I also wonder, like, how intelligent are they? Like, are these like sentient beings, or are they just kind of like mindless automatons? So you shoot them with a phaser and they just turn into dust. So
I guess that's possible. Unless they're the crew of the other ship, in which case we assume they're pretty damn smart and warp capable and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think they might just be like these kind of mindless beings. Is my theory, but I might be proven wrong in the coming episodes.
I mean, that does make for it lets the heroes a little off the hook when you got to slaughter a bunch of them at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's like why they made robots so prevalent in 80s cartoons, because you could kill robots.
Yes. The Ninja Turtles fought the Foot Clan were all like robots in the cartoon. They weren't like, actually like stabbing dudes to death like they were in the comics. But yeah, it's weird how like they just like turn into dust if they're shot. So that's what makes me think like they might not be like
there
might not be much
I just thought she had the phaser really high.
She's on the highest level.
Yeah.
But no, I think she would like stun people. So I don't know. I guess like if she thought like her life was on the line.
There's some mystery, right? Like they were like, what's with these little weird ashes?
Yeah. Riker was like,
something more to go, I think, than it's just cranked up.
To be fair, I watched this episode after a very long day of work, so I might have just missed that part.
There's a lot going on, and like even if you like it or not, it's just like there's a bunch of stuff crammed into that first section, so it's very easy to like wonder where it was.
For like, this isn't really a pilot, but in the way for a lot of modern TV, the first episode of the season, you're setting everything up. You gotta convey a bunch of information.
Well, we see Picard on the chateau with Orla Brady, with Loris. They seem to be doing well. He's got a Romulan girlfriend. He worked out his mommy issues in season 2. He feels comfortable being in romantic relationships with women now. They're ready to move off to their retirement home. She's going to do like some part-time job doing diplomatic security. He's going to sip Brandy. They're packing up the stuff. And I like the juxtaposition here of Picard. Like, I don't need mementos. I'm not going to obsess over the past. I'm still alive. I'm still living. I'm still me. I still have a story to tell. I want new adventures and stuff. I don't care about like all my legacy, all this stuff. He's trying to get rid of stuff. He's sending his Enterprise painting to Geordi to the Starfleet Museum. He's like talking about how all that stuff's important, but it's not something that he uses to define himself. We saw the opposite on board Crusher's ship, the Ilios, where she has a bunch of stuff. It's like she's trying to like hold on to her memories, hold on to her past. So I thought that was interesting. They showed us that side by side.
Maybe it's because she left all her friends 20 years ago.
Yeah. So to me, that signals she did that reluctantly. She did that not because that was like her choice.
I assume there'll be a reveal, although
right.
I don't like it as a plot point, but I assume there will be a lot more to say about it.
I don't necessarily love it, but it kind of makes sense, because otherwise I was like, why isn't Beverly Crusher in the other 2 seasons?
Well, it's also, I think it's clearly a reaction to that. Like, people were like, okay, fans are mad that Beverly has just like disappeared. We need to explain why why no one mentions her. And so that's what they're trying to do here. So
yeah, it has
in real life when you, sorry.
I was just going to say, yes, it's kind of a meta thing in that sense.
Yeah. Well, and you also like in real life, you'll have like a big group of friends, and then suddenly like, hey, 20 years later, it's like, whatever happened to so-and-so? It's like, somebody who would hang out with you every day in your life, and they're just like sort of gone.
Yeah.
I do think it is a realistic thing, but I don't think it's like a dramatically satisfying thing for this crew.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for them, it didn't really make a lot of sense, personally, I think. But yeah,
if it does happen, if two people try to date, it doesn't work out. One person gets the friend group.
Yeah,
yeah, that's very true. But Picard gets the message from her with the the Hellbird, no Starfleet. He's got to use the Myriad codec to. So it's very very clearly it was designed for his eyes only, and like you can trust people from the Enterprise, but don't trust anyone else. Don't trust Starfleet. That was something that like kind of made me like uncomfortable because I don't want more sinister Starfleet. But I think there's, because we see a dude spying in the bar on Picard and Riker.
yeah.
I think that there's like some type of infiltration. I think there's spies out there, and that's what they're worried about.
I saw in the comments, Jill had mentioned that she was like, maybe the guys that with the different faces are bugs, and I don't know if she was specifically referencing.
Yeah, they could be the conspiracy bugs.
Conspiracy bugs, yeah, that would be a reason to not mention it to Starfleet.
But I'm a big fan of Orla Brady. People who watched our season 1 and 2 discussions on Picard, you might recall that I really like Laris as a character, and I like her romance with Picard. I don't expect it to be like who he ends up with at the end of the season, but I like that they had like these moments, these scenes. I love him, trusting her, and he's explaining everything to her, and just her reaction where she's just like, "Damn it, you have to go," and how Orla
She would
Brady
have been helpful
played
to take with them, honestly. It's like,
Yeah, she's an intelligence agent. She knows what's up.
Yeah, I guess she had commitments on a Chatlock 4 or whatever that planet was called.
She had to go do a thing. Yeah, she had a job or something.
She's gonna save him a seat at the bar on that planet where you watch the sunset. So I'm sure at some point he'll go over. He'll return to her, right?
I did like that line.
He's gonna
maybe
return
I'll be back in a few days. And it's just like, or more, it's just like, or weeks. Just like the whole idea of just like, we don't know when we're going to see each other again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling like it's last episode kind of stuff. And but is Picard going to show up and be like, Laris, I have some bad news. Beverly and I are back together.
I think that might happen. What I would love to have happen though is if she's like, then like Will Wheaton shows up and he's like, Laris, I'm going to take you back in time to be his ancestor's protector, but you just have to call yourself Talon and act like you don't recognize him when he shows up. And because I'm still peeved about like, how did she like Picard just randomly like ran into one of Laris's Romulan ancestors who looks identical to her. It happened to like be on Earth. Like that did not satisfy me what they did in season 2. So I would like to fix that if possible. You got room for that in your story, Terry. I would like to see that.
Because you're mentioning Wesley. Do you think Wesley like knows she has a brother?
I think he probably knows a lot. I mean, if you're a traveler, you know everything, right? You know, like the whole cosmos, right?
Hopefully, like he could travel and just hang out with his mom a little bit while she's being sad away from her friends for 20 years.
Yeah, couldn't she help him or her?
I guess we're going to probably find out some reveals about that before the season's
I'm still hoping he's not actually her kid, but
Wesley?
Just,
yeah, me too.
Just no, the new boy. But
I will say, even if he's adopted, he is her son.
Fair enough. But yeah, just like the way that they talked about it on the Ready Room, but like the behind the scenes interviews and stuff with Gates McFadden and Will Wheaton, it's like, okay, yeah, they're clearly referencing him like he is like a new Crusher child. So but more on that when we get to it. But I don't know. I like the Orla Brady stuff. I thought she had like a perfect balance of like, she was both supportive, but also still kind of like disappointed. It's like, I understand you have to go do this. I'm not happy about it, but I'll still support you. I don't know. What do y'all think of that?
She seems pretty awesome. I don't have strong thoughts on her character, but that's very cool of her. I like it.
I feel like she's like, why is it I feel like she's used to getting left behind. Like she's like, your life is like this. This kind of sucks.
Excuse me.
It does seem as like they keep leaving her behind on the adventures, and it feels like she would be useful.
She's stuck being an NPC.
Yeah, she is a little bit of an NPC, huh?
My camera seems to be frozen.
Oh, that's rude of it.
Oh, not to quote the IT crowd, but have you tried turning it on and off again?
Yeah, I did, and I did, and then you don't even see the back of my avatar. So
Well, you look kind of cool, like looking
weird.
down. It shows off your hat.
It does show off your hat.
Yes.
I have been thinking.
But
your
I was
hat
wearing
looks...
this, by the way, because I tried to.
hat?
I was going to wear my uniform, but the third Picard badge that I've got from Fansets fell apart. I just like it's becoming like a thing. I just can't have a Picard badge on me. It just self-destructs.
Are they all from Fansets? The one that fell apart? The ones that have fallen apart?
Yep.
That's interesting.
2 pins, 1 magnet. So it's like the magnets have just disengaged from the badge.
Get better, or Paramount license it to someone who can like make a magnet that stays on or something.
Exactly.
That's the badge has like one job. Like the only thing it's supposed to do is stay on your shirt.
Exactly.
We lost Aaron, but hopefully he will return in a moment.
I see in the comments, Kevin Richardson asks, "Are we ever going to find out what that massive tunnel from season 2 was? You know, the whole reason for season 2 happening."
I don't think so. I think that they're ignoring that, unless it ties into this quantum tunneling. But I mean, it's kind of a similar special effect. It's like a big amber tunnel, but I think they're going to be unrelated. So hopefully someday someone tells that story, because that's another thing that I was like, oh, surely they'll touch this in season 3, but now I'm like, it sounds like they're gonna just ignore that for now. But if it doesn't come up in any of the shows, they'll eventually do a campaign about it in Star Trek Online, and it won't be canonical, but maybe it'll be a satisfying conclusion. I don't know, or at least fun gameplay. Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about Picard going to Riker for help, and then their trip to the Titan and meeting the Titan crew.
I did think it was funny that if he was like, "Don't trust anyone," he immediately was like, "I gotta talk to Riker."
It's like that's the one person you can trust.
I was like, Patrick Stewart pulls that hat off well.
That's a good look.
It is a good look. I was disappointed.
So I'm wearing my Picard.
In the bar. I guess that was her day off, but it would have been cool to see her. But I thought the Bajoran bartender. I kind of liked the different generations where she's like, oh yeah, like the fat one, this dumb fat ship, no one likes it, and then Riker is like, show some respect, young lady, that's galaxy class to you. But I'm sure most people really dug that, because they're like, yeah, that's the galaxy class, we love that ship. I actually I've never liked that design, so I'm kind of on her side. But
Majel Barrett called it a pregnant duck. That's what she said it looked like.
That's not a pretty ship, but I mean,
no.
if you like it, cool.
But I mean, here's the thing. I didn't like the scene because that is the Enterprise D, 7 seasons. That's the show.
Okay, here. So
I like
they don't have money,
energy.
right? So how are you getting these like little knickknacks?
Oh, you probably you have to tell Guinan a good story or something like that.
There's some eggs. They have a basket of eggs, and sorry, you were saying something, Rachel.
Sorry.
I said I like Riker's dad energy in this scene.
Yeah.
And you're like, you could tell he has a kid now.
But no, I think the scene was made for people to, to be on Riker's side, to be like, oh, that's the Galaxy class. You better respect that. So I think it actually works. If it was, to me, I like it like ironically, because I think it was clearly like intended to be like, yeah, we love the Galaxy class, but I just happened to be the outlier who like never really liked it.
They're having this whiskey again that's been in like every episode, it seems like Swafford or something like that.
Yeah,
it's not real.
Well, Riker is a bourbon man, and they talk about that later. But it's also when they mentioned that Kestra and Deanna probably want a break from Riker, so I don't know what that's about. I'm not someone who thinks like every like beloved romantic relationship in fiction like should be like, oh, and they stayed married till death, and they lived happily ever after. But this is one that like I kind of do want to root for. Just
some relationships do last.
Yes,
like honestly, it took so long for them to get together. Please don't do this to me.
Yeah, and then like they went through like the death of a child to get the literally like worst thing that could ever happen to a human being.
There's like, if they survived Dad's death and seem in a pretty good place in Nepenthe, that I was like, what could have possibly happened in the last 2 years?
Riker going back to work. I think that might be because I could see Diana getting like, you were just going to do this one thing and then you didn't. And
but he doesn't want to give up the chair. Yeah, he doesn't want to get. He's like Picard in season 1. He's like, I don't want the game to end. Like I get that. Yeah, I think that would be a good direction.
So he might be at home trying to appease that, and just everybody's just tense because he. Doesn't
I think that works. That works out all right. You had to kick some Tal Shiar ass.
Yeah, sometimes you got to kick some treacherous Tal Shiar ass
with all of your replicated ships.
Yeah, with one class of starship. But mystery dude who's like spying on them and dropping the Enterprise D into his drink. Whatever the spy people are, I don't know if they're conspiracy bugs. I don't know if they're Tal Shiar treacherous asses. I don't know if they're Dominion changelings. I don't know what. But he is clearly one of them, and so there's probably more. Maybe Shaw is one. Maybe Crash LaForge is one. I don't know, but we'll find out.
Did I see a changeling on the Titan?
On the Titan?
Yeah,
that's what everyone keeps saying. I don't think.
I thought I saw one on the bridge. It looked like like
a changeling
type form. Yeah. I don't know.
I think it must be the other the
probably not. If y'all didn't see it, I trust y'all.
No, I've heard that twice too by other people.
I haven't heard that from anyone. But
I could have just looked down for a second if it was quick though. So.
I mean, I guess technically anyone could be a changeling, but
I mean, it looked like Odo.
No one. I didn't think anyone in this episode looked like Odo.
They had hair, I think, but otherwise somewhat Odo-like features.
No, I didn't.
I'm
not
go back
see
and
that.
look at that.
I'd be curious who you're talking about, but
because there's two new bridge crew that we met at the premiere, and one of them's a Vulcan.
Yeah, there's a Vulcan, a Halayan, and then
I think it's the Halayan,
Bajoran, and a human, but not a changeling. There's no changelings in Starfleet.
Unless I mean, I guess
that we know of.
Are you laying down an edict, Fathery?
But yeah, they
have to go back and check that out.
They do their little surprise inspection, which I'm like, okay, that's a good way to sneak on board. Yeah, like admirals inspecting ships. They got this big Frontier Day thing, which
do
appears
we know what
to
that
be
is celebrating?
It appears to be the 250th anniversary of Captain Archer's NX-01 ship launching, is what I think, which would place this episode in the year 2450. No, I'm sorry, 2401. 2401 is 250 years after Archer launched, which all the promotional material calls this 02, but nothing they've said on screen confirms that. Promotional material is not canon.
All the behind the scenes people that I've talked to, especially when I was doing the Stargazer comic and stuff, it was 2401. So
okay, yeah, and Memory Alpha says it's 2411, but they get shit wrong all the time, especially with dates, with years. Yeah. Do not believe a single year on anything Memory Alpha says. Come message me, ask me, because I can figure it out. The people who edit Memory Alpha.
Here's my secret: I have no idea what year anything in Star Trek takes place.
Yeah, for a lot of people,
that's where I am too.
For most people, it doesn't matter.
I'm roughly 20 years after this. Okay, whatever.
But I like the idea of the inspection, and then when I saw Picard straighten that guy's badge, I was like, oh, I'm so glad they didn't do him running his finger across the surface to check for dust, because that would have been an exact repeat of Kirk. So okay, they did something different. They put a different spin on it. I did not need Shaw to bring that up later, because that only makes sense if you've seen The Wrath of Khan. It's like, why did you bring that up, Shaw? It's such a weird thing to say at dinner. You can run a finger along any given surface and not find any dust. It's okay, that's cool, I guess.
But it's the 25th century. I would hope you'd be able to do that regardless.
I didn't think we worried about dust
anti-dust. Yeah, exactly. And when you have no carpet, it makes it even easier to clean.
Well, they got those little cleaning robots we saw in Prodigy that were cleaning the Protostar. The introduction of Crash, I kind of complain about this because I thought it was too similar to Demora Sulu in Generations. But on rewatches, I do have to admit that I think that the actor playing Sidney LaForge, Crash LaForge, She's so adorable, just like the way that she has like the big grin when she sees like her uncles.
And the line was like, "Is there something wrong with that ensign?"
Yeah, is there something wrong with that ensign? And then I like Riker kind of busting her balls a little bit, like, "Oh yeah, you're Geordie's kid that crashed shuttles at the academy, right? They call you Crash, right?" And she's kind of like, "Shut up, Uncle Riker."
Yeah.
And I do like that as soon as he hears LaForge, Picard knows exactly who she is.
Yeah.
It's just like I assume he hasn't seen her physically since she was a kid.
Yeah. When I see my friends' kids, I'm like, Jesus Christ, how did you were like 4 last time I saw you?
And to them, they haven't changed that much. Picard at least.
I recently saw someone's kid I hadn't seen in a while, and I was like, "Stop growing!" Like,
and I guess the other thing I liked,
feel old.
The other thing I liked in the sequence was when Riker is like, "Come on, give me your inspection face," one of those rigid, disapproving, sour expressions. But their chemistry, they're like their little, I don't know, like they're on like this buddy cop adventure. They're like on this a good old fashioned road trip. Is what he called it. So all that stuff was that was great. Just that's such an iconic thing of like the TNG cast is when you get a couple of those actors together like on screen. There's such a loving energy between them that and the audience can detect that and pick up on it. I think
there's also something where I think Patrick Stewart and also Picard as a character has a set, like, to most people, a sense of like authority that the only people who kind of like will tease them is the TNG cast, and I feel like there's like it
carries over
into
their characters,
or at least with Riker I feel like it does. It might not with everyone. We haven't seen a ton of the rest of the cast yet.
Occasionally it almost feels like it carries over just a little too much to me, like when he's like shut at will. It didn't quite sound like Picard, it sounded like Patrick Stewart, but not a big issue. It's fun. They were
if
good
you watch
together.
like the outtakes from season 1, it's very much like that at the end. They had the just the banter between them when he's off scene off screen directing. You can hear that kind of back and forth. It sounds very much like that.
And Patrick Stewart in real life has like whenever I see him interviewed and stuff, he always seems to have like a really, really good rapport and sense of humor, and like he knows he knows how to converse with people and carry rhythms so well.
It seems like it didn't start out like that. From what it sounded like that.
It didn't. Yeah,
they kind of taught him how to do that. Basically,
yeah. He was kind of a hard ass on the set of TNG in season 1, and he would get mad at the younger actors for goofing around and stuff. And then after a season though, he became like a big goofball too. And all these people love each other. Like they're in each other's weddings and stuff when they get married. And
I've heard like after a season 2, but I also have heard the story where apparently he did during the Tasha Yar. It must have been pretty early on that he turned into the goofball too, because I've heard the story of like during Tasha Yar's like funeral thing, everyone was sad, and he did the Sound of Music run throughout that field to like cheer everyone up.
Oh, I wanted to see that.
I so wish there was footage of that. That sounds hilarious.
I know. I wish we could see that. There's a lot of stuff I wish that we could see.
I think there's sometimes like blooper reels were definitely not as much of a thing during that era, and I was like, I wish they were.
Like, I wish that we could, like, Sirach Lofton did like old man test makeup for the Visitor, the DS9 episode of The Visitor, where Jake gets real old, and Tony Todd's played him. But they tried to see, okay, if we put like old man makeup on this teenager, what would he look like? But I wish I could see it. And then
teenager in old makeup.
Yeah,
creepy.
Kim Cattrall, who played Valeris in Star Trek 6. I guess one day, apparently, if this is true, she brought like her photographer friend onto this set of the Enterprise bridge for Star Trek 6, and the photographer shot nude pictures of her with like her Vulcan ears on, like on the set. And Leonard Nimoy found out, who was a producer on that movie and came up with the story for it and stuff. And, I think he was trying to protect the brand, protect, the characters of Spock and everything. And so Leonard Nimoy destroyed those pictures, or asked that they be destroyed. But I would have liked to have seen them, but that's just sorry, but
damn you, Nimoy.
Anything else on the Titan before
funny,
we?
I feel like it is the brand, because didn't Nimoy also do like nude photography, but not with Star Trek stuff?
Yeah, but when he was older, like in retirement, the dream. Yeah, that's what every old straight dude wants to do in retirement. It's like, I just want to like take pictures of naked women. I guess there's worse ways to pass the time. But you want to talk about like Captain Shaw when we get his big introduction?
I would like to punch
Do people
him.
have thoughts on Shaw?
I would like to punch him.
Rachel's not a fan. Dave's not a fan.
Good. I don't like hate him as a character necessarily. Like I think he is probably going to be an interesting, like maybe bad guy. I don't know, like if he'll be like villain or just like nuisance.
Right. I feel like he could end up getting sort of won over by their ways that he's so against, or like see some positive side of it. But
one thing if there's one thing I like really hate that he did. It's really fucked up. He's making her go Bionica.
Yeah.
Yes. He dead names her.
Yeah.
But I think I know why though.
Of opinion that I'm like, you're like dead naming her. That's really fucked up.
I think he has. I mean he clearly has some bias against Borg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he
called Picard ex-Borg.
Yeah. And so it makes me think like did his parents get killed at like Wolf 359? Yeah. He would have been like 12 when that happened. He's not, but I mean, I don't know. Like he might have had like parents who were in Starfleet or something.
Like I could see that, but it's still like, you got to get past your bias if you want to be in a leadership role. Like,
no, that's true. Yeah, he's wrong, but I think there might be, Sisko, when Sisko met Picard, Sisko was extremely biased against Picard for being a former Borg. So it is something that I think
that
works.
Is true, but I'm gonna point out Sisko wasn't going around calling Chechnya a Curson. Like
when you think about when you think about Picard, what happened at Wolf 359, it was, I guess, way worse than say Pearl Harbor was, just as far as sheer numbers. But there also do of course existed in the decades following that many times when like GIs from both sides of the war would like meet in peaceful settings, which isn't to say that there weren't a lot of bitterness too. There's and racism and everything, but I can essentially it'd be easy for me to accept that it exists.
I accept that it exists. I don't like. He'd have to really do some stuff to win me over for me to be like, I'm on board with him as a person.
And I can even understand where he's coming from with like the dead name thing, because he'd be like, no, like in Starfleet we call you Commander, whatever your last name is. Like
Worf doesn't have a last name.
I like from his perspective, like you're a human named Annika Hansen. Like I don't care. I hate the Borg. I don't care what they named you.
That's when I did a comic book cover that has her name listed as the captain, and that we actually went through that whole conversation. And I think the way that they steered me, because like no, she owns 7 of 9. That's her, and they're like, we can't really use that. And like, so I think that they were trying to subtly tell me it's like there's going to be some discussion about this.
But
Annika Hansen.
Picard calls her 7 later in the episode, or no, at the beginning he calls her 7 there too. I think she will be Commander 7 by the end.
Yeah,
because me and Starfleet Boy, we asked Terry Matalas. We were like, does she go by Commander Hansen or Commander 7 in the season? And he told us,
yes,
she's Commander 7. So it's like, well, that contradicts what we're seeing here. So I think that will be, when it's all said and done, when the dust settles on season 3, she's Commander 7. So either Shaw will go away or he'll get better.
So as a general thought,
he'll be her
on
first
Shaw,
officer.
They kind of did a thing where, like, to make sure we got that he's a jerky guy, kind of everything he said was something that grated or kind of cast aspersions on Riker. The presents he got from them, he was like, oh, I don't really drink this, I don't really like your jazz, I'm gonna eat this food, real kind of gross.
Whenever you have close-ups of food going in mouths, it's
why would you do that?
He invited them to dinner and started without them.
But I get where he's coming from. Like on my rewatch, I was like, you know what? I kind of get where Shaw's coming from. Like, imagine if it's like an episode of The Next Generation, and Picard is like, okay, I'm supposed to take the Enterprise here, and then some like retired admiral comes onto the Enterprise and is like, I actually want you to go to the edge of the Federation and then go where you are. I'm not going to give you a good reason why, but you should just do it because I think it'd be cool. And Picard would probably be like, well, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, from our viewpoint of the people watching the show, we find that person as be the bad guy.
get
And now
why
Picard
he
is the bad
doesn't
guy.
necessarily like want to do that part. It's like the needlessly like being like, I hate jazz, and it's not having.
I hate
rules.
jazz too. I can't get into jazz
but you
because
don't have to
because it
insult.
has
I
no
mean,
structure.
there's
But,
a
like-
level that he kind of goes beyond that is
Right.
not necessary.
We're
No,
clearly
yeah,
not
he's
supposed
totally a
to
prick.
be real big fans of him yet.
Mhm.
Yes, and I'm not a big fan. I think that was rude how like he like turned his nose up to Picard's bottle. It's like,
Yeah.
man, like this guy like picks his
Someone-
own grapes and shit. Like
someone
how are you
brought
gonna
you,
turn your
like-
nose up to his wine? Like
Also, you live in a world where most of your food is replicated, and someone brought you real wine. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, do you know how many people probably want that bottle of Chateau Picard wine and they're not going to get it? Like you should be grateful.
It's funny. I
think
don't
what
like.
people
I don't like super dry wine. If someone bought me a really nice bottle of super dry wine, I would say thank you.
But he's
I think that, like people, I think one of the reasons they like him is just like because he's a jerk, but he's making sense as opposed to just being a jerk to be a jerk.
Fair.
I think that's
I was
probably
the one
yeah.
thing.
he's
he's a
very
good actor.
watchable. He's a very
Yeah,
watchable.
that's the
Yeah.
other thing.
No, I think he's interesting to watch.
Yeah,
I
for
would
sure.
put him in like I don't know that he'll like when I say this, I don't know that this man is going to fully be a villain. Where like I hate Ducat as a person, I enjoy watching Ducat. Like
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. that's
Ducat
a
was
great point.
amazing.
yeah,
I don't think it is
know-
on the Ducat level.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, we're not
either.
there yet.
No.
But
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 Todd
people
Todd
are-
Stashwick's performance, I think, is there.
Yeah.
If they write some
Yeah.
interesting things for him to
Mhm.
do.
his criticisms, which because I think their ruse was kind of lame.
Yeah.
His criticisms sort of seem reasonable, but to me, it's the kind of reasonable that's a little bit meta. Like when you say, "Oh, Batman could actually do a lot more good if he just invested all the money that Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne has in building Gotham and to a better place with better jobs and better healthcare." And I'm like, I get that, but that's not why you turn up to watch it, to read a Batman
Yeah.
comic. And in Star Trek, I want them to have a cool scheme that even if it doesn't come off, I want it to kind of feel cool, like it was a cool
Mhm.
plan. So I didn't sort of like that. It sort of made our heroes look a little lame.
I also
It's
like
kind of thrown together at
I
the last
felt
minute.
people were comparing him to Jellicoe, and I'm not like I don't dislike.
No, I
Jellicoe.
compare him to Lorca. He reminds me of
Lorca-
Lorca, season one of
Lorca's better
Discovery.
comparison.
Lorca makes sense. I was like,
Yeah.
Jellicoe, like he changed stuff up because he was like in command, but he didn't like start insulting Picard's taste in like music, like unnecessarily.
Did Lorca eat evilly? Did he really
Yes.
kind of?
Yeah,
He did.
I was thinking he
He had
did.
those fortune cookies.
Yeah, with the fortune
Yeah.
cookies, because his parents had a fortune cookie factory, which is another.
Just
Ryan
like a
Fuller
wine
is a weird dude.
vineyard. Yeah.
Somewhere
That
out there,
def-
somebody is a fan of Shaw ASMR chewing, but it's not me.
That
Yeah.
the Lorca fortune
Oh.
cookie thing in retrospect sounds like something that the Mirror Universe version found out about. It was like I've got to like bring that up so people think I'm the real one.
Oh, we
Yeah.
don't have fortune cookies in my universe. We have misfortune cookies.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
That's pretty good.
So it's like I better lean
beat me
really
to
hard
it.
into this fortune cookie business. I laughed out loud when Shaw made Riker and Picard sleep on the bunk beds. I was like, wow, what a insulting thing to do to these like prestigious Star Trek heroes.
This reminded me of I cannot remember the name of the episode where Data and Picard are going to
Yes, on the ship.
Romulus.
Oh,
Yeah.
Unification Part
Yes.
Part 2. Sorry.
Yeah, so that I was just like, why does everyone hate when they have to give Picard a place to sleep? Like,
At least Data's not there staring at him.
But like there's a tradition in Star Trek of making like the like the admirals the badmirals, or at least make them like kind of pricks. 'Cause,
genuine
yeah,
question: does Picard still have to sleep?
I think
yeah.
his body more or less runs like a normal body. At this
Yeah,
point, I
his
think.
hand still
Yeah.
gets bruised when he gets an IV, and yeah, we explored a lot of that stuff in season 2.
I
but
bet his most comfortable way to sleep is with like a blanket on over him, sitting upright in a chair. The old man sleep.
With a book.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
his-
yeah, he fell asleep reading. But there's a tradition in Star Trek of like you can't have Starfleet do all the do all the work for the heroes. Like you kind of, that's why they often have to butt heads with Starfleet, because like, okay, Starfleet's a massive, powerful organization. If they're just going to do whatever your heroes want, then your heroes are not going to have like any struggles or any challenges or anything.
Yeah.
And so like we see that in this episode, you know, with Shaw, and I it took me a while, but like I kind of understand where Shaw's coming from. He's like, yeah, like I take a lot of pride in how I run a tight ship. And I do not want this surprise inspection. I don't want this admiral trying to tell me what to do. I don't want this former captain trying to tell me what to do. This is my ship now. And yeah, he's kind of pissed off that they threw this surprise inspection on him. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to get your ass back. I'm going to make you sleep in this bunk bed like you're on the Cerritos and lower decks. So I kind of made me respect Shaw a little more in that, like, oh, well, yeah, he's trying to get his, so.
I need Shaw to do something for me in episode 2. I don't know what, but I feel like I need some other,
like go pick up your laundry or something like that.
If he could, it would be great, actually.
I liked Seven, you know, siding with Picard and Riker over Shaw.
Yeah, because they use her name. That's
yes, because they actually call her by what she refers to herself as. Yes,
apparently that's the line I draw, because I still can't get over Pulaski like getting mad about Data, like just be like, hey, can you pronounce my name correctly?
But she does do that. I think that she changes. I think that's what like, and if you lived for real in that universe, being told that this robot essentially is a live person, and when you've seen like a holodeck, which is 1,000 times more realistic than Data, I would find it hard too.
Once he's in a Starfleet uniform, like the decision's been made. Pronouncing someone's name correctly is like basic common decency.
Yeah,
I don't know. I grew up
Pike
overseas.
would do it.
Pike would do it. That's
but yeah, you know, Seven has really come through for these guys, and Seven has backed Picard hard before. You know, she has the biggest association with Janeway, but I feel like she's really gotten probably pretty close to Picard in the last few years
back in time.
Her character's story.
That's why I love that they mentioned Janeway too. When she says,
like that.
you know, I wanted to inspire people and lead people as a commander in Starfleet, like you do. But she also says like, and like how Janeway, it's like, yes, like Picard doesn't usurp Janeway as like her Starfleet idol. So I loved that they tied that in with the Janeway name drop, especially that Janeway is so prominent in Prodigy and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure she's still like an active admiral. She might even show up in the show. Who knows? I also got a kick out of Shaw waking up and being like, why the hell are we in this nebula, when he looks out his bedroom window?
For whatever reason, that was the one time Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I just say the light change. I could see like if I'm sleeping and like suddenly I can you know, even with your eyes closed, you can kind of tell the room's brighter or something like that. It just woke him up.
That was the time that I felt the most connected to Shaw, was waking up annoyed. I was like, I get you. Just this one moment.
I also feel like Shaw might be a bit dumb if he was like, these people are obviously hatching a plan. I'm gonna go to sleep. Like, have you not lived in this universe at all?
It was maybe foolish of him to do that and give Seven the con.
Yeah.
That was a... But I don't know. He's had, 34 successful missions or whatever. I have a feeling they probably weren't as prestigious as Picard's, but he got them done, I guess.
He's been running the Titan. Yeah, I think they're very, like, boring missions, but they probly, like, look really good on paper. Like, oh, wow, like, he exceeded expectations here.
This guy's got a career in politics afterwards.
He's not going to annoy those... He's never going to annoy those people that keep the timeline in check, but...
Right.
Oh yeah, the Bureau
of
Temporal Investigation.
Yeah.
They're gonna show up to give him an award. So we just wanted to say thanks.
Doing everything safe and by the book.
I was wondering why it wasn't Temporal Investigation like Commission or something like that, so it could be like Tick Tock, you know, like something.
That'd be nice.
Ooh.
TikTok,
because they want things to be boring. That's
there you go.
Yeah, they're very boring dudes. Everyone who works there is like a balding white guy named like John Smith or something like that, with like no personality. And I am very curious to see what the Titan and Shaw do in episode 2, because they're right next to wherever the action's going to be going down, and Shaw is pretty pissed off. So I'm sure they're going to have some big role to play in episode 2. We'll have to wait till next week to find out what. But let's before we talk about the ending, let's just real quick touch on Matalas Prime. I see what you did there, Terry. And, he didn't create that. The planet was named in Star Trek Enterprise, so.
Yeah, but he worked on Enterprise, didn't he? Isn't that the point? Like,
as a PA, they named it after the PA as a joke. They didn't. No one knew he was going to be the showrunner of Star Trek.
No, I know, but well, you didn't have to bring this planet back. You could have done something.
Yes, he did. But good for him.
He brings it back. This is something he was talking about, though. Is he brings it back, but he also makes it a shithole. So he's kind of like shitting on himself. He's like, "Here's my planet. It's a terrible fucking place." But that's where Raffi is undercover, where people are like shooting drugs into their eyes and buying Tal Shiar Romulan disruptor pistols.
Yeah,
it's bad in Star Trek when they're smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, when they're smoking. I mean, Kirk smoked cigars when he was in prison in Star Trek 6. So. But yeah, the Orion man. The first time I watched this, I thought it was like a little. It's like, okay, so to get like information on this weapon, you just like go up to like a drug dealer and like he'll be like, oh, I think they're attacking something called the Red Lady. I don't know too much, but on rewatch, it made like a little bit more sense. It's like, oh, Raffi was probably going undercover on this planet specifically because they thought there was some link to the quantum tunneling and stuff. So it kind of made more sense. And
it's a little bit of that shorthand they sometimes do in these kind of things to just say she's doing legwork, right? We know she's doing stuff.
I was so terrified at first that she actually had fallen off the wagon.
Me too.
And had broken up with Seven. I was like, why? Why would you do this to us? And then I was like, wait, maybe she's undercover. And then I was so relieved when she pulled out the communicator and
just the way her body language changes.
I was like the whole
time.
I was like, she has to be undercover. Oh, thank God. Like,
yeah.
And she I guess has some relationship with her son. She gets like these holographic videos of her granddaughter. I mean, I don't know. She's like a spy. So
or she just steals it. Exactly.
if you remember in season 1, we saw her son with his pregnant Romulan partner. So we knew there was a grandbaby out there somewhere. So, and then her handler. I don't know. I know a couple people here have seen past episode 1, but I am pretty confident that the handler is Worf and he's doing Starfleet intelligence stuff.
That's my theory too.
Is it because he said like you're a warrior?
Yes. But it's also like all the text
and we see him in the trailer together.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time together in the trailers, but all the dialogue, it's like I can hear it in Worf's voice when he's like, speak freely.
Yeah.
Or, you are a warrior.
No,
it sounded like
I could hear all of it sounded like the dialogue you would give to Worf in like in a video game when you pass him.
Mm-hmm. like if you go talk to Worf on Kronos and Star Trek Online,
you are a warrior. Like
just like he's just doing the thing with the pros.
He's very like blunt and direct and efficient in how he speaks. I would have liked to have had a joke from him. As Dave and I were just watching like the latter seasons of DS9, and one thing that they do remember in there is like Worf does have a sense of humor, and Terry has said somewhere like, Worf still has a sense of humor in Picard, so I'm looking forward to that. But
I think
that's probably the pacifist joke or something like that. I'm assuming that's a joke.
I don't know. That's. Yeah, I do think it's Worf. And then I was like, am I weird to think that because it was Warrior? And then I was like on TikTok and everyone was like, it's Worf. We're like, okay, cool. Like,
watch it be Harry Kim. That's what Kevin Richards said.
You know what?
Right now,
if it is, good for him.
Raffi doesn't seem to have any connection with Picard at the moment, right? They're just doing their own things.
Yeah, he's a retired admiral. She seems to be working under Starfleet intelligence.
I would assume Picard is probably aware Raffi is undercover, and that's about it.
Yeah, they probably stay in touch. They probably catch up every now and then, but he's right now they're very disconnected. I'm sure very soon these storylines will start to tie in and cross over with each other. But one thing that stood out to me in this episode is like the pacing of the show. It's still very much what I'm sure the people running Paramount Plus want to have. They want to have like these dynamic kind of like high stakes type scenes, and they want like these these big mysteries that are going to bring people back week to week and keep them subscribed to the streaming service, and they want like a lot of like flashiness and make everything look like really cool and expensive. But I thought that they did a good job of, checking those boxes, but they still, the pacing still allowed for things to like kind of slow down and talk things out. And, here when we kind of see Raffi doing some research, she takes time like Google Red Lady. It's like, okay, there's a Romulan ship in the Rigel system. There's this former Tal Shiar person that was executed. And then there was like the Rachel Garrett statue.
Yeah.
Upper left.
Oh, what
it
were
says
you saying?
Voyager B.
Yeah, it's a Pathfinder class from Star Trek Online.
So Voyager A that we supposedly see in at the end of Protostar, or Prodigy. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Enterprise or to Voyager A.
I was kind of hoping it would be the Pathfinder class, but they gave that to the Voyager B. So I guess I don't know what the Voyager A will look like. We'll find out.
Maybe it looks like that,
year.
and it just gets broken, and then they fix it.
I think this is the show that Paramount's maybe pushing out to like not more casual Trek fans than the other ones, because they're like, you guys remember these people more than like Pike, a character I obviously love. People like before like Discovery, like we're not really gonna know who Pike was in general. But even like my brother sits and he's like, "Oh, I've heard really good things about Picard," and I was like, "You have?" Like, who's like?
It is all over the place.
Yeah,
it was like crashing the day that this episode came out yesterday from day of recording. But it was crashing Paramount Plus. In fact, I tried watching the episode to take notes on Paramount Plus, and then like twice during the episode, it just like stopped and shut down. And...
Oh, thank God mine didn't do that. And my brother does work for like an entertainment news website, so we could hear there, but like they don't usually talk about Star Trek on that, like unless it's like casting news or something like that.
Even like on our regular local news, they were talking about it, which is interesting. It's like, tune in at 6 to talk about Star Trek Picard or whatever. Like on the news? Like, okay.
I mean, cool.
Yeah.
When
this
Raffi,
weapon is just crazy.
Yeah, when Raffi figures out where the attack is coming and then doesn't get there in time. Yes, it is dramatic that like right when she rolls up, just coincidentally happens to be when the attack happens. But if the presentation of it, I thought it was kind of a cool technology. It's like, oh, this is something new and different for Star Trek, but it still really works in the universe, in my opinion. What did y'all think of the portal quantum tunneling
it
stuff?
got me. I gasped watching it. Like I was like, oh shit, like that's intense.
Yeah, it's
Everyone
a
in the
great
theater did
portal
the same
effect.
thing.
It's a cool way of displaying it here, where it like destroys an entire building. I guess this is like a Starfleet recruitment center, because Matalas Prime's obviously it's like not a Federation planet, right? If people are like shooting drugs in their eyes on the street, but they do have it's kind of like Deep Space Nine. It's like they have like an outpost there. They have like this
Starfleet
Starfleet
have, like,
outpost.
slums around here and stuff. You can kind of see it when she's flying in.
Yeah, and
railroads apparently.
But we see like the destruction of this building. Okay, like it seems like pretty big here, but then think like, okay, the scale in terms of Star Trek, this is presented to look big, but this is actually pretty small. Like, what if the next time we see this weapon, like, what if it does this like an entire planet or something like that? Like, they could get pretty destructive with this, so it is very scary.
Well, even doing what they did with what was essentially be like a like a Coliseum or something like that.
Yeah.
Doing it with a city or something like that would be insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like, okay, I definitely get why Raffi would be terrified about this. This seems like it very, very destructive.
And I also like,
and the question is like, can it?
And she's also terrified. I assume there are people in there.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to call them. She's like, Starfleet, like, I'm trying to contact you, like, get out of this building. And it was all like scrambled. I guess there's some like effect from when the portal's open, but yeah, she was trying to like.
How long it takes to recharge that thing? Like it would be like you're saying, is if you could destroy a planet or like, but if it's is there a time in between using it or?
Well, yeah, and also of course, have you seen the second episode? Yeah, you have, right?
Yeah.
But I guess we don't know yet whether like whoever did this, is there going to be a demand? Is it just a an act of vengeance or I guess we will all find that out.
The trailer makes it sound like just like Vindicta from Crisis Point. Honestly, that's
Cobra Commander style.
Yeah, the one negative that I have of just like it's just like, okay, leave some scenery for everybody else, lady. It's just like too much scenery chewing. It's just like, and not enough like information on what the hell you're doing, which isn't giving anything away. It's just like it's in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely get those vibes in the trailer. I said for a long time she was the the least interesting thing out of everything I was hearing about the show was the baddie, but
it's almost like it's
we'll
just
see
a force
soon.
of nature, and it just like it gets all the people together. Just sort of ignore her and watch them.
Well, Marvel movies kind of somewhat notoriously can have some weak villains, but I think part of what works about their format is that they do use that as a way to spotlight the heroes, and the heroes are really pretty interesting. Yep. So it's a format that can work.
Oh yeah,
and all these heroes are pretty like beloved personalities that fans are gonna demand a lot of screen time from. So I think as long as they're presented well.
And I think some people like over the top villains. Like remember Angel in Strange New Worlds?
I was gonna say
pretty good.
I really liked her. I don't know that I would use her as like a central thread in a farewell to a whole series, but I do love Angel as a character.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this is supposed to be like a big epic 10-hour movie. I don't know if she's big epic 10-hour movie level, but
I'm just saying like in general that like it can work.
Sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about her next week. I think is when we'll get to see a lot of her, but just judging by how this episode ends, we get like I feel like we get so many scenes like this.
It's a flashlight. I'm like, what is that gun? I was like, oh, it's a flashlight. Sorry.
We live in an age where we keep making sequels to everything, and so like I just feel like I see so many movies and shows where it's like, look how old we are. I hope we can still do this, but we get like a little bit of that here with when Riker is like, okay, like your hands are shaky, my knees are shit. As long as they don't have to like shoot or move, we'll be okay. I was like, I like all that stuff, but it just feels like, I just like everything. I see this and like everything these days.
It's a little trope cliche.
Yeah.
I kind of wondered if like maybe Patrick because like we haven't seen like Picard's like them being like, look at Picard's arthritis before, right?
No, it's never come up in the in the show.
I kind of wondered like maybe I've heard Patrick Stewart has arthritis. I wonder if it's getting like harder for him to like.
I assumed it was exactly that. Yeah,
he has arthritis, and then he said he started smoking weed, and then like his hands got better. So
good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He but here he said it was like the shakes or something more like that, right? He didn't. Yeah. They didn't say arthritis or.
No.
They just said the shakes, but I wonder if it's getting harder for Patrick Stewart to like pretend he doesn't like.
I bet it is.
I'm like, and honestly, I'm all for that. Like, if I would prefer like writing in like an actor's developing age or developing disability than like just being like, nope, can't use him anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a little trickier in a sort of utopian future where you think that they could give him,
arthritis is probably cured, but they actually say like stiff hands, but he's close to 100 at this point, like in universe, like if this is, I think he is born.
He's got aromatic hands.
They fixed that. They took that out of him though, and they made a synth body. He's aromatic free. I don't know why he doesn't remember Deep Space 4, but it's not supposed to be aromatic synth. So something else.
I actually took that to just being like he never knew that Deep Space 4 because he's not in Starfleet anymore.
Oh yeah, he didn't get the memo. He didn't read that email.
He just didn't know because he's not in Starfleet anymore. I didn't take that to be he forgot.
Yeah.
The same thing, like the same kind of thing is him not knowing that they had changed the thing about going warp 9.99 or whatever.
Yeah.
Alerting
he's not Picard.
No.
He's the
that would be wild.
The Talshua infiltrator or the changeling is him.
I don't know if I'd be mad or
he's a Vendorian.
If they did that. I'd be like, what the hell?
Or
what if they were having dinner with Shaw and that little thing crawled out of his throat?
One theory is that he's never left the Nexus, and this has all been in the Nexus. Everything post Generations has taken place in the Nexus.
That's fine if you're like a new anti-New Trek conspiracist.
No, that's stupid.
Well, that's exactly right.
There are awful things that have happened to him in those movies in this show that would not be in the Nexus.
Yeah, the Nexus is supposed to be like heavenly. But I did like just their conversations back and forth when Riker instinctively starts calling Picard Captain. That happened to me. I had one of my teachers / coaches from high school I actually used as my real estate agent when I bought my home. But then, like, when I saw him for like the first time in decades, like I just instinctively started calling him Coach. I probably should have called him Eric, but that seems really weird. Like, no, like that's Coach Sunheim. I gotta call him Coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Riker. He's like, first of all, like he got promoted to Admiral, but still just on instinct. And then Picard returns it. He starts calling Riker number 1. It's like, oh my, like you hear like these voices. It's like, yeah, like it does kind of feel, like I'm the little kid watching TNG for the first time again. But yeah, we have Bev in the med pod, and Mystery Boy shows up and says that they did a piss poor job, chaps, because you led the enemy straight to them.
I wonder if this guy has an English heritage.
Yeah. So is this is he Picard's son, and somehow he inherited the British accent from the French father?
Somehow heredity. We asked that too. It's like, wait, how? I can't. Languages are not like hereditary. You can't pass it down like that.
So at the top of the show, I commented on how he made me very nervous, but I do like what we see of him. Like, I like that he has like a little bit of personality when he's like, well, chaps. He's
got a little attitude.
I like that.
Even if the plot doesn't go where I like want it to, I've always liked this actor and everything I've seen him in, so I was like, I'll enjoy watching him.
Ed Speleers is how you say his name, right?
I've heard that name so many times now because of
If you don't like him, I guess you can go back and watch Riker elbow him over and over. Elbow to the face.
You say Ed Speleers enough, it just like starts to sound like a nonsense word. That's what happens. Like everyone's just like Ed Speleers. I'm like, what is that?
It's a futuristic name.
Because but till this I was like James from Downton Abbey.
But he also says they found us on Sarnia. We ran, then Kafar, then Exoport. Each time they had different faces. So Dave, I think it was you who brought that up earlier. We still don't know what that means. But we know that the baddie ship that we've been told is called the Shrike has tracked them down to here. So
okay, I'm going to because someone said here's the thing, like why doesn't he have his mom's accent? I'm going to assume they grew up somewhere where there's a lot of British people, because this is true. Children who grow up in places like where their parents have the odd accent don't develop their parents' accent. They develop their peers' accent.
Whatever they hear the most. Yeah. She was listening to those old Picard log entries, so maybe he just heard a lot of those on the ship for 20 years, and that's where it came from. We're like, I want to know, like, how old is he? Like, is he supposed to be born like post Nemesis? Because I don't like the actor is like in his 30s, but
because we're like he's too old to like be right post Nemesis.
But he's too young to be like
that
from
season 2.
The other theory is like Crusher had a card in season 2 when she left the ship. Like she's like a girl who like goes to like a different high school for a year when she's pregnant or something. But if that's the case, then okay, that was in the 2360s, so that would put him at like 40. But I don't know.
Think it's
very well have adopted a child. Like,
you don't think it's the child of the ghost she fucked?
If that would have been around like 2370, so that actually does match up closest to the actor's actual age. So you might have cracked the case, Dave.
Yeah. Just remember to credit me when that comes full circle. When he suddenly dissipates into a green mist and saves the day.
Tell me about my father, Mom. No, absolutely not.
It all started with Nana's sex candle.
Yeah,
I like the emergency boy toy hologram. She needs somebody.
Well,
turn him on.
Tara in our live audience is saying, remind me, is it Tara or Tara? I know that we've asked you before, but I forget.
Yeah, this is a fun
she says,
thing. There's
OMG,
a Tara and a Tara at my work.
It's a naked now, baby.
That's a lot. She says, OMG, it's totally the ghost kid, right? And yes, it was like a Scottish planet, which was kind of weird. But
maybe
I don't
they
know.
grew up on like Britannia 5 or something like that.
Is the Shrike, is that like is the ship the stolen ship from the Daystrom Institute's off-planet station?
It looks like the Narada, kind of.
It does,
looks
like
a
very
lot
little
Narada.
Narada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the design more. I love the. I want to know who designed it. I'm gonna guess it was John Eves, but I could be wrong.
It's sort of
But
like the new Battlestar Galactica melted with the shadows from Babylon 5.
I like that
It like
it has a deflector on it. Like it's like
Yeah.
oh, it's like
Yeah, I
this
see that.
scary alien ship, but it has like a little touch of Star Trek with the deflector
Mhm.
under the
Little
belly.
it
It's
looks
like
like a
pinchy
scorpion to me.
claws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
It definitely is a
looks
bad guy
ominous.
ship.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if this rolls up on you, you know it's not gonna be like we come in peace. It's like no, like this thing came to fuck shit up.
And the thing is, it's so much bigger because they're in a shuttle, right?
They're not on a shuttle, but the Helios is not a big ship. Like we saw it. That's another good thing they do is they give you a good sense of scale every time they show you a new
Okay.
ship.
Mhm.
They show it next to a shuttle or something. So it did
I also like that
kind
their
of help
L cars
us.
are the old style.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
It isn't
yeah.
like the current modern version. It's like an older
Oh yeah, they
operating
showed.
system.
There's their shuttle docking with it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I like her ship. It's a cool looking ship.
Yeah, the Helios, and maybe they'll do like we always talk about like maybe they'll do like some tie-in material. But yeah, maybe they will do like a novel or a comic or something like one of her like Doctors Without Borders missions on this ship. Maybe after we learn more about Mystery Boy, maybe we can learn like what his role in there is. And I hope that she comes out of the med pod in the next episode. I would like to see some more Beverly. I really want to see them.
She stays until episode 10.
She's
Oh,
just
God.
saving there the whole season. But
They
I
can
want to see her
communicate
and Jean-Luc.
telepathically.
I want to see them interact. Before I go into the Gorn egg section of the show, which is where I point out the Easter eggs and jokes and continuity connections, did y'all have any other thoughts on this episode you wanna get out there before we call it a day?
I was
Looking at my
appreciated
notes
that this was directed by Frakes, right?
No, this is directed by
Okay.
Doug Aarniokoski, who
okay.
he's doing the first 2 of season 3. He also did the first
okay.
2 of season 2, which most people agree were they were the best episodes of season 2.
Yeah, he
first
also
2.
his pacing and just the way he cuts between things, I appreciate it. It's not like rapid fire editing where you're just like, okay, I'm getting sick because I don't know where I'm
I will
supposed to be
say,
looking.
I'm assuming because they revealed the like he's her son part so early that I'm like, at least they're not going to be dragging on the mystery about this kid.
I'm hoping that that's not even true, but we'll find out. I like your theory, Rachel, that he's Rene. He's Rene Picard. He's like Picard's long lost nephew.
I
If that
mean,
could
I
happen,
like
that'd
my
be
theory
great.
too, but like,
Although he doesn't look old enough. TNG was so long ago that Rene would be even older than this by now.
I will say that is true. However, Scotty hung out a transporter for like how long?
There's so many ways you could bend stuff to make it work in Star Trek.
That med pod
No one's gonna
could
do
be
that.
like a that med pod that Beverly's in. That could be something that cryo freezes people. So maybe he had been like stuck in there for. Maybe it's like Picard. We wanted you to think that we burnt your family's house down, but actually we kept your nephew alive in this little pod until now.
It actually is Picard from the past.
It's a time-traveled Picard.
The best case against it probably is just that this is meant to be kind of their biggest crossover show to the mainstream, and so they're probably not going to do a callback to Renee. I would think they're going to try and keep it bigger names for the franchise.
I don't know. There's enough deep cuts in here that
I would say also Renee is like in one of the movies, which they like. I think he's not in it.
He's briefly in it.
Well, he's not. He's a picture of him's in it, but
he's in the
Generations
Nexus.
is kind of a big deal. Yeah, even
he's in the Nexus. I'll say that. But I could see it something where like Beverly adopting someone because like
that's what I'm
he's
hoping.
Like in danger, and so she's like, I gotta take him and go.
If for some reason it had to keep him safe, had to do it in secret or something.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew about the conspiracy bugs or something.
Oh.
I just keep wanting them to address that. Like,
and I guess it's good that they've got some mysteries that have intrigued.
There's a lot of cool, beautiful graphics in like that end credit sequence. Like stuff that looks like it could be from Vadic's ship, weird alien displays, a lot of cool Starfleet L cars. All of it really beautiful. There's some shots of, like DNA and stuff. So I don't know, maybe cloning's involved.
They're playing the
The First Contact
Yes,
score,
First
the
Contact
music.
theme,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, a lot of Goldsmith, a lot of Goldsmith and
say,
Horner brought back.
I think I put that in a chat. I was surprised they completely did away with the Picard theme song. It didn't really seem to have a theme song at all. Like there's a song here, but they didn't have like opening credits.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, there's that little like Picard like victory theme that like when Riker and Picard steal the shuttle and stuff. And I really liked that. But
is that just for the first episode, or is there going to be a theme song, maybe like an opening credit sequence?
No.
I think
Okay.
this is the theme song that we get like over this.
Yeah,
like
it's at the end of every episode.
Because this is a new composition that Jeff Russo did. This isn't like they just played this off of the Star Trek First Contact soundtrack. This is a new piece.
We'll say like I think
notes.
it sounds good and stuff, except there's been like a trend in all TV to like get rid of theme songs, and I miss them.
Yeah.
But
I
the thing is, like, the song's still there. It's just at the end.
Yeah, and it's a different song. But they changed the theme from season 1 to season 2 a little bit, and this is more drastic of a change. But I would say it still has a theme. But yeah, I think they just moved it to the end because streaming shows are like the only shows that still do like these big elaborate opening credit sequences. Things that come on like terrestrial TV tend to not do that because I guess they're scared people will change the channel, so they just like flash the title card. So this kind of gives like the hybrid.
I miss theme songs. I want to clap along with the Friends theme song. I don't know why Friends keeps coming up.
It's been a long road.
No,
that's what happens when you let people do theme songs.
But yeah, I also think like, with the exception of that show Dave just referenced, I never skip the intro when I'm watching Star Trek. I never do that. But I think a lot of people probably do. But I feel like if you've already seen the episode, you're more likely to sit through it here and enjoy the music, enjoy the beautiful graphics. So.
Because if you love like LCARs and stuff like that, you just want to watch the whole thing.
I don't know what "do not seek blame" means, but that's on some screen in there.
Was that was that part of the you're a warrior?
Yeah, that sounds like something worthy too. Like
micrographic neurographic scan. Huh.
There's that
was
really cool card that they added at the very end that just says the simple words "for Annie" in memory of the late Annie Wershing. I spent the last week watching the Star Trek Picard Season 2 Blu-ray and watched all the behind-the-scenes features on there. And yeah, like that really stood out, watching her performance as the Borg Queen, knowing that she had terminal cancer while she did all that work under all those prosthetics, everything.
Wow.
Seeing her
Crazy.
enthusiasm in the behind-the-scenes. She began and ended her career with Star Trek because she started off I think her first acting job ever was on Star Trek Enterprise. She was in a season 2 episode of Enterprise, this little one-off character. Oh, and Todd Stashwick, our beloved Captain Shaw, he also was in Enterprise. So he was a. I don't want to spoil the episode, but I'll just say he is a Vulcanoid. He's a Vulcan who turns out to be a Romulan spy. That made it sound more sus, so I said he was a Vulcanoid.
You were like Vulcanoid. I was like,
Vulcans are always annoyed.
I'm a droid and you're annoyed.
Yeah.
Let's crack some Gorn eggs. I'm gonna go through these quick because there's a lot.
Make some omelets.
Knock some out.
These are the Easter eggs, in jokes, and continuity connections I thought would be fun to talk about. But yeah, we get like that in the 25th century, kind of acknowledging Star Trek has left the 24th century, gone into the 25th. But that's also how Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan opened. There's a lot of music in the score that we talked about familiar blends of Horner and Goldsmith. One that stood out specifically to me was they reused a theme from Star Trek Insurrection when Picard is talking to Laris about like his mementos and his legacy and stuff. It's like playing like some of the Star Trek Insurrection music when he learned from what was her name, Anaj in Insurrection, when she's talking to him about like living in the moment and the present and stuff. And I was like, oh wow, that was a cool reuse of that theme. I rewatched Insurrection a couple of weeks ago, but there were also some real life songs like "I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire" and Picard's mixtape that he made Beverly, his Spotify playlist that he sent to her. There's
I just want Depeche Mode to just pop up randomly in the middle of it.
No. I Can't Stop Crying, Guilty as Charged. When Shaw was on the Titan, he was listening to Chopin, or however you say that. I know
Chopin,
it's not. It's spelled like Chopin, but I know that's
Yeah.
the wrong way to say it.
Chopin.
The Ilios Beverly ship that was named after the Greek god of mercy. There's a lot of stuff on here that we should mention. Jörg Hillebrand, who's pretty famous on Twitter, like finding all the Star Trek Easter eggs. He actually works for Star Trek now. He says, "Oh yeah, I can now tell all y'all. I've been working on."
I think he's just memory alpha for them.
Yeah,
is what it is.
But he's been planning a lot of these Easter eggs in the show. But I'll just go ahead and reiterate the stuff that he I feel like kind of spoils the fun for me because he's just telling everyone like, here's all the stuff.
Yeah, I gave up. Like I used to be like did the Easter eggs a lot, and it was just like I can't keep up with him because like that's all he literally does. It's like, okay,
folks, let me know.
Some of us have jobs and life.
Should Tex-Trek continue the Gorn eggs, or do y'all want to retire this segment of the show? But Beverly has the flowers on the ship. Like she kept the flowers in her quarters on TNG we saw in Cause and Effect. There's the pearl necklace on the ship from that she wore in The Big Goodbye when they were playing on the holodeck, Dixon Hill stuff. Theater masks referencing her time as an actor and a director, doing those plays on the Enterprise. There's this is a cool one. There's actually a Deep Space Nine blood sample thing, like when they were like testing people's blood to see if they were changelings or not.
Oh yeah.
So we know there's some Dominion War tie-in stuff. Like I don't know, like it's possible maybe Beverly was testing.
On her.
It makes sense that
Beverly
Beverly was a Starfleet officer during the Dominion War, even though we never see the Enterprise.
She would know how to test for changelings. Even though they made it clear that changelings could trick that test by just like taking someone else's blood and carrying it in them.
Oh right.
There's a commander
or being smart enough to take over the Doctor.
Yeah, that works too. There's a Lieutenant Commander Jack Crusher's suitcase, footlocker, whatever it is. We saw that in the episode Family, although it looked a little different there, but close enough. She also keeps
more than one.
Yeah, he might have. Who knows how many of those? 47 of them, of course.
I could see because like that was like something he had left for Wesley. I could see him having a separate thing he had left for his wife.
Yeah, one for the kid, one for the wife. No. She keeps a glass of blue liquid by her bed, which seems like a really weird detail to bring back, but they brought that back, so I'm not sure what that does, but
that's where she puts like her comb, like in a barbershop.
Essential oil. Essential oil.
That's her contact solution?
Yeah. We did get a 47 in this episode when Picard used his old 47 Alpha Tango security code that I think the first time he ever said that was Star Trek First Contact. Of course, Earth Space Dock seems like they've added some new sections and stuff to it since Star Trek 3, but it's never looked prettier. The Titan, which if you pay attention to the stuff they post on Instagram with those log entries and stuff, they say that the Titan refit, they actually took the old Luna class Titan that we see in lower decks, broke it down, and then built this new ship over that ship's space frame.
Okay.
I find
because people were like, "This isn't a refit." It's like,
yeah,
it's a completely new ship.
It seems like a new ship. There's conflicting dialogue. Like Riker's like, "I love that new ship smell," but then Shaw's like, "I had to purge all your jazz out of the computer." So it's like, okay, so this is the same ship as a
Why
new
would
ship,
you have the same computers? Even
it's
like when those houses get remodeled, and it's like, oh, look, all the personality.
You're required
left.
to keep. Yes.
Well, it's also
or like in LA, you have to keep like the bathroom. There's like one thing that you have to keep. And you can like take down the rest of the house. That's how you get the permit to build. So that's why we get all these crazy McMansions that have gone right to the edge of the property.
It's also smaller than the Titan used to be. Like if you look at like the size of the windows on the Titan and lower decks, and then the size of the windows on the Titan on Picard, it's like, oh, it's supposed to be like the same space frame, except the ship got a lot smaller. So I think they must like remove parts of the space frame.
Yeah. A lot of it was dedicated to Riker's jazz.
I guess, yeah. Shaw was like, cut all that shit off.
Shrink the ship.
Oh, and In lower decks,
Shaw wanted people to look at the stars less because he didn't want them to get ideas of actually wanting to go places.
In lower decks, all of the shuttles are named after jazz musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no jazz musician shuttles on this ship.
Oh yeah, did we see a shuttle name? Oh, on the other one?
No, I don't think their shuttle. I don't think we see its name, but it'd be.
Shaw's
cool
going to end up hunting those shuttles down.
But it does have metaphasic shields. So metaphasic shields made a return, like from that Ferengi scientist invented in the episode Suspicions. Yeah. I can never say this word correctly, but like the boatswan, whatever it's called, the whistle that they blow in. Boatswain.
Yeah. You can just say boatswain. Yeah.
It was in the Wrath of Khan. It showed up again in TNG and DS9. So I love the what Nicholas Meyer called nautical but nice flavor of Star Trek is cool.
It's wrapped around her arm, like somehow it's gonna fall off or something. That was weird.
Yeah, well, if you have to run around and do actiony stuff, you don't want to lose it, I guess.
It's on a little lanyard.
It's like a little ceremonial kind of stuff. It looks.
No,
like.
I know.
Picard can't remember if they're going to Deep Space 4 or Deep Space 11, but Deep Space 4 decommissioned now, but it was actually mentioned in the TNG episode The Chase. So good use of continuity. Speaking of using continuity, they bring back Matalas Prime, which Trip Tucker said he had visited, saw the ringed moons in the episode Dawn. The Star Trek Enterprise episode Dawn, by the way, has a special place in my heart, as that was the only time I was ever watching Star Trek and wanted to stop. I really did not like that episode. I don't know if it's fair to call that episode.
Oh, is that
like
the knockoff of whatchamacallit of
Hell
Enemy
in the
Mine?
Pacific, or like every other story of like two enemies trapped and stranded in one place. Yeah, it's
even the Geordie Romulan
a special
episode.
dark place in your heart, Fathery.
Objectively, I'm sure I could find worse episodes of Trek, but that is
Aquiel.
That is Aquiel. But that Dawn is the episode I enjoyed the least while watching. The bar where.
No, I know what episode I enjoyed the least while watching, and it's like if I like told people they'd agree it was bad, I feel like they'd be like, "That's not the worst episode, though." I try to remember the episode where Worf ruined everyone's vacation.
Oh, I hate that episode.
Who is it? Cast the first stone, cast the last stone.
Yeah,
Glass House, something like that. From the
We should do an episode sometime that's like sort of a series of like little small lists like this, and just for fun.
Me and Tony, I really like that episode though, but we're probably the only two people.
Worf is completely out of character and ruins everyone's trip.
Super arch conservative Worf.
I don't think he's out of character though. I think that's in line for him.
It's a special breed of like, I don't know why anybody would fall for him if he was like this. He's like, we need to stop having sex. We need to. Anyway, sorry. Carry on with the Gorn eggs. Let's not get caught up in our hatred.
We're way over time.
Yes.
Just these at an hour and a half. So
edit that part out.
It's a big episode, so we'll go a little over this time. But the bar where Raffi is buying her drugs from had some alien writing. I didn't have time to look into it too much. I know like one of them is Ferengi, and then I don't know what the other two are, but they look really familiar.
There was Tellarite somewhere else before.
Oh, okay. I think one of them might be Romulan or Riemann. Theirs might be the same, but like the one on the right kind of looks like that. But the one on the left is definitely Ferengi language. If someone has those figured out, let me know. The communicator Raffi is using is really weird. It looks very similar to like a Strange New Worlds communicator. So it's interesting you took that undercover. There's reference to the Bajoran Gratitude Festival. So that was cool. Peldor Joy, y'all. But also we get this new holiday, Frontier Day, and this new I assume it's Klingon, but Empire Union Day. So that was cool.
Or it could be whatchamacallit. My brain is frozen. Cardassian. Are they the Cardassian Union?
Oh yeah, so it could be like their thing. Although I think they're probably still rebuilding after their destruction at the end of the Dominion War. So their holidays probably aren't too festive.
I would also like to say I'm proud of Riker for not making any comments about the Bjorn's earrings.
Oh yeah, he didn't like get on the Titan bridge and was like, "Son, take that earring off. That's not regulation." Like he was to poor Ensign
But it seems like
Rowe.
they've shortened them. Like maybe there are more regulation because it's like it doesn't come down quite as much. They've been kind
more
of propped up.
I could see, like it would not uncommon for other to have like a work version of like a jewelry. Like it's not religious necessarily, but I know a lot of people who have like silicone versions of their wedding bands when they're like either exercising or have a friend that's a nurse that does, because her engagement ring gets in the way.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the emissary has asked for shorter earrings. We don't know.
Well, it depends if he's come out of the
wormhole or not.
Who knows?
He comes out to say that. Hey, by the way, shorter.
One commandment. I'm going to keep it short.
Yeah. Shorten up the earrings.
Come on, kids.
And eat more jambalaya. All right, I'm going back in the wormhole. Peace.
Well, if the emissary said it, let's get eaten.
When Raffi is Googling the Red Lady and she pulls up a lot of stuff on the screen, there's a lot of cool stuff there. We see the Stargazer from season 2. We see the Enterprise F, the Odyssey class Enterprise F, finally canonical for the first time. It's from Star Trek Online. And speaking of Star Trek Online, we also have the Pathfinder class. It's a design of ship I'm a huge fan of, is the Voyager B. It looks kind of like a post-Nemesis Intrepid class, like actual Voyager from Star Trek Voyager. So I prefer this. I prefer the Pathfinder.
I need to go look it up. It looks pretty cool in that shot, though.
Yeah. I'll send you some pictures of it. I love it. Whenever Eagle Moss models come back through whatever new company, whenever that happens, but eventually it will, I'm sure it will, or at least someone will get those designed to start 3D printing them themselves. But I do want a Voyager B model. I love it. And of course, the Red Lady, Rachel Garrett. I did not realize this until now. This is the first time since yesterday's Enterprise Rachel Garrett has ever been mentioned in anything canonical. 900 episodes of Star Trek, and just this is the first time we've mentioned her again since season 3 of Next Generation.
And I think, honestly, not just because her name is Rachel, I've always really loved her. So I'm always like, more. Give me more.
It would be cool to have a show with her, at some point.
Yeah,
obviously now.
The Lost era, but between Star Trek 6 and TNG. I would love to explore that time period.
That'd be cool.
I want like a show like set in like the 2220s. Just put it how like TOS was like exactly 300 years in the future. Just do that now. Just 300 years from 2023. Let's do a show in 2223.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Another thing we like to do on the show is subspace transmissions. I don't think we have time for that now because we ran a little over our time limit, but we love hearing feedback from our audience. So we just told y'all what we thought about this episode. We'd love to hear what folks out there think about this episode, and we will be sharing that next week when Dave and I discussed Picard season 3 episode 2. I don't think we're supposed to say the name of that episode yet, but that show's gonna be like a little different. It'll probably just be me and Dave. We're gonna have to do like it might be like a leaner show, might be much shorter because I'm gonna be on the Star Trek cruise next week, and we're trying to prepare for some traveling.
I'll see you next week in person.
So, yes, for the first time ever. I will be I'm part of me kind of thinks that Aaron is just like this computer program that only exists as like a screen on my computer.
Starfleet boy met me.
I don't. For all
Maybe
I know,
he's a computer.
You're saying he's in on the conspiracy.
Yeah, I have met him. I have met Sohel in real life.
I haven't met Starfleet Boy. I've met Fathery and Dave, but
well, we all live in the same city, so it's a lot easier. But yeah, it'll be cool to hang out with Aaron in LA in a few days. So that's right around the corner. So that'll be a lot of fun. And Tara, sorry, but she's gonna be on the cruise. So if you see me, please come up and say hi. I'm easy to find. I wear this cap and I have this distinctive beard and shaggy hair, so
I like the idea of like you fully with a black baseball cap but on a cruise.
Yeah, it's just I look like Fathery in real life. So it's what someone's actually told me that, so I mean
that's
you look
great.
like that guy from Tex-Trek.
Yeah.
Do I look like Rachel in real life? What that means.
Yes, Tara
you do, but not as much as Fathery looks like Fathery. Weirdly, I don't know how that works. It just does.
Yeah, so a lot of fun. I'm very excited to be back talking about like new episodes of Star Trek. So thank you everyone who caught us live. If you're watching or listening to this later, thank you so much. You can always catch us Fridays at 7 p.m. Central or listen to us wherever you get your podcast. And until next time, as always, live long and prosper, y'all.
Listen to the Tex-Trek podcast through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or at tex-trek.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/tex-trek. And follow Fathery on Twitter at TXTrek. Please support us by liking our videos and subscribing to our channel on YouTube. Thank you and take care.